Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is T of the FTK Crochet brand, and today we are going to be making the tutorial for this beautiful hexagon cardigan that I'm wearing. It is a step-by-step detailed tutorial, so it is beginner friendly. If you are new to crochet, this is something you can actually make for yourself or for a loved one. Alright, I posted the tutorial for the hat some days back and I decided to do a cardigan that would go with it. You know how obsessed I am with making sets. But don't worry, if you've not seen the tutorial for the hat, I'm going to be putting the link on the description below so you can make your own set if that's what you want. Alright, but before we go into today's tutorial, have you subscribed to my channel yet? Don't you think you are missing a lot not subscribed to this channel? So I'll give you some time now to actually click on the subscribe button so you do not miss out on any of this tutorial that I post on here. Alright, so without any further ado, let us get into today's tutorial. Okay, so for this project, these are the materials that you are going to need. All right, you are going to need your yarn, of course. This yarn is actually 2-ply, is an acrylic yarn, and it is 2-ply. So I usually put 2 strands together to create 4-ply for myself, but you can go ahead to use any yarn that you feel comfortable using. Okay, and then you need your tapestry needle, you need some stitch markers, you need the scissors, you need a measurement tape, very important. And on this one, I'm going to be working with a 4mm hook size. All right, so let us get into it. Okay, so the measurement you're going to need for this one is going to be your bust measurements, around your arm measurements, and the length that you want your cardigan to be on. All right, so that is what we are going to be working on today. For this particular measurement, I'm working with my own measurements, though my bust is 39, but I'm going to be adding 5 to it. So altogether, I'm going to be doing my bust measurement as 44. All right, so that is what I'm working with here. So if you know you are going to be following this size, then you can just go ahead to do exactly what I do. But please, I want you to take your own measurements to be sure of what you are doing. Okay, so now we are going to be starting with one of the panels, because on this one we are going to be doing 2 panels, one on the right side and one on the left side, but it's going to be identical. All right, so now to begin the first one, you are going to make a magic ring just like this. And now you are going to chain up 3, 1, 2, and 3. And on this magic ring now, you are going to be adding 2 more double crochet to create a cluster. All right, because now this chain 3 is going to be serving as 1 double crochet. So with the 2 more now, we just created our first cluster. All right, and then you're going to chain up 2, 1 and 2, and on this same magic ring you're going to be going in with another cluster. So 3 double crochet makes 1 cluster, and 3. All right, so now we have 2 clusters, so you chain up 2 again, and on the same ring you are going to be going in with another cluster. 1, 2, and 3. So now we have 3. So on this magic ring, we are going to be putting in 6 clusters altogether, but make sure you chain 2 in between. Okay, so 6 cluster in a magic ring is what is going to be giving us the hexagon shape that we are going for. So make sure you have exactly 6 clusters inside your magic ring. All right, and make sure you count it: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. All right, so now to end on this row 1, you are going to chain up 2, 1 and 2, and you're going to do a slip stitch on the chain 3 we started with right here, just like this. So now we are done with our row 1. Just drag the strand at the bottom so you tighten the top. All right, so you tighten this middle hole here, sorry. All right, so now to start on row 2, you are going to be doing slip stitches to take you to the next space, which is this space here. All right, you do a slip stitch on the next stitch, and on the space right here you are going to do a slip stitch. So now that we are on this space, what you are going to do now is chain up 3, 1, 2 and 3, and on this same space now you are going to be going in there with 2 more double crochet to create the cluster, because don't forget that chain 3 now is going to be serving as 1 double crochet. So with the 2 more, we just created our first cluster for the row 2. All right, so on this same space you are going to be putting in another cluster, but first you are going to chain up 2, and on this same space now you are going to go in there with another cluster, because this part now happens to be a corner. So on this hexagon shape now we are going to be making 6 corners. All right, so now we have 1 down. All right, so now to get to the next space you are going to chain up just 1. All right, and go into the next space now and create a cluster. All right, so since this is going to be our next corner, you are going to chain up 2, and on this same space you are going to go in there with another cluster. 1, 2 and 3. All right, and then you're going to chain up 1, and on the next space you're going to be going in there with a cluster. 1, 2 and 3. So since this is our third corner, you're going to chain up 2, and on this same space now you're going to be going in there with a cluster. 1, 2 and 3. So now to take us to the next corner, you're just going to chain up 1. All right, so the chain 1 is going to be happening outside. So it's when you want to create a corner, that is when you make the chain 2. All right, so when you chain 2, you put a cluster inside the same space. That is how you create a corner. Okay. So to end on this row 2 now, you're just going to chain up 1, and then you're going to do a slip stitch on this chain 3 that we started with right here to end on this row, and then you're going to chain up 1. All right, so now I'm going to be switching colors. So I'm going to be cutting this particular green off, and then I'm going to tie it just like this. All right, so now you are going to be reattaching your yarn on this very space here. Okay, and then you are going to chain up 3. 1, 2 and 3. So this part now happens to be our very first corner. So this chain 3 is going to be serving as 1 double crochet. So on this same space, you are just going to be going in there with 2 more double crochet plus the chain 3 we just created our first cluster. All right, and since this is a corner, you're going to chain up 2, 1 and 2, and on that same space you are going to be going in there with a cluster. So this is 1, 2 and 3. So now to take us to this next space, you're just going to chain up 1. So since this part here now is not a corner, we are just going to be going in there with just 1 cluster. 1, 2 and 3. And this has taken us now to another corner. So this space right here, now you remember this is a corner. All right, so you're just going to chain up 1, and on this corner you are going to be going in there with a cluster. 1, 2 and 3, and then you are going to chain up 2, and on that same space you are going to be going in there with another cluster. 2 and 3. All right, so this is what you are going to continue for the whole of this row 3. All right, you are going to chain 1. So this is not a corner, so when you get to a side, you are just going to put in 1 cluster. 1, 2 and 3, and then chain up 1. So when you get to a corner, you put in 1 cluster. 1, 2 and 3, and then you are going to chain up 2 and put in another cluster. So the only places you are allowed to chain 2, like I've told you, is when you are creating a corner, but in the rest places you are just going to be putting in 1 chain. Okay, so when you get to a corner, you put in 3 double crochet, which is a cluster, and you chain 2, and on same space you put in 3 double crochet, okay, to create a corner. But if you are not working on a corner, if it is just a side, you're just going to chain up 1 and just put in 3 double crochet and go down to the next space. All right, so keep doing this all around this row, and I will meet you here to show you how you are going to get into the row 4. Okay. Okay, so I'm at the end of the row 3. Yeah, so to end on this row 3, you're just going to chain up 1 and do a slip stitch on the chain 3 that we started with right here. All right, so now to start on the row 4, you are going to be doing slip stitches on each of the stitch to take us to the next space. 1, 2 and 3. All right, so now that we are inside the space, you are going to chain up 3. 1, 2 and 3, and on this same space now, this happens to be a corner. All right, you are going to be going in there with 2 more double crochet to create our first cluster, because like you already know, the chain 3 is going to be serving as 1 double crochet. All right, and now you are going to chain up 2. And on this same space, you are going to be going in there with 3 double crochet, which is a cluster. 1, 2 and 3. All right, and now you are going to chain up 1 and then go to the next space and put in just 1 cluster, because like you already know, this is not a corner, this is a side. All right, so now we now have 2 sides, because like you already know, these corners, they are the avenues of increases. Okay, so now that we're in row 4, we now have 2 sides. All right, so as you do your increase and go, you will see that it's getting bigger and our sides will be getting more. All right, but just make sure that you are careful with knowing that you always have 6 corners, because the hexagon shape must give you exactly 6 corners. So let me count it for you and see. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So always make sure as you go. All right, because it's very easy to make a mistake with this hexagon shape. Okay, so now you are going to chain up 1, and on the next side now, this space here, you are going to be going in here with a cluster. 2 and 3, and then you're going to chain up 1. So on this space now, which happens to be the corner, you are going to be going in there with a cluster. 2 and 3, and then you are going to chain up 2 and go in there with another cluster. 1, 2 and 3. So you already know the drill. All right, so if you want to go to the next side now, you have to chain just 1 chain. All right, so only the corners that you're free to put in 2 chains before the next cluster. All right, so this is exactly what you are going to be doing, all right, until you get to the length around your arm. Okay, so like I told you, the around your arm measurement is very important, because now we are going to be working this hexagon shape to get your around your arm measurement. Okay, don't worry, as we go I will be explaining it better for you. Okay, so now with this hexagon shape, I'm going to be doing it until I get 9 inches altogether. All right, so I'm going to go off camera now to create the 9 inches, and I'll come back to give you more explanation of what I mean. All right. Okay, so I now have my hexagon shape, and this is how it's looking. My table is not big enough to show you the whole thing at once, but so far this is how it's looking. You can see how I played with the colors. All right, so I'm going to be stopping here because this one now, it measures around my arm. So like I told you, the measurement you get, the inches that you get around your arm, that is the exact inches that you're supposed to make for the hexagon shape. All right, so now that the hexagon shape is here, so this is how you fold it. All right, so as you can see now, we have one side of the cardigan we're working on. All right, so this part now is going to be the arm area. So around my arm is 18 inches. So when folded like this, I'm supposed to get 9 inches here. So that's why I said you should stop at 9 inches. So when I fold it like this now, both this side and this side is giving me 9 inches. So because of the arm area, we are going to be stopping the whole hexagon thing on 9 inches, but we are going to continue putting more rows on these parts. All right, so right now we are going to be closing these parts that happens to be the shoulder. All right, so what you are going to do now, so you don't go past that part, you are going to put a stitch marker here. So you see where this corner is now, that is where you're going to put the stitch marker here, and put the stitch marker on this part as well, so you do not make any mistake. And on this part as well, you are going to be putting a stitch marker right here. So you see now it is easy to actually know where you are going to be closing. That happens to be the shoulders. All right, to reveal this part. So now this part is exactly 18 inches that is around my arm. So I'm going to be stopping it here. So now I'm going to be showing you how we close the shoulder parts. Okay, let us get into that. Okay, so to start on this very last row now, you are just going to be doing a slip stitch down to the space, exactly what we've been doing to create the hexagon shape, because like I told you, this is the last row, but we are just going to be using this last row to close the shoulder area. All right, so now that you are on the next space, you're going to chain up 3 as usual, and on this space now you are just going to go in with a cluster just like this, and then you are going to chain up 2 and you are going to put a cluster on this same space, because don't forget this is a corner, so it's just exactly the same thing that we are going to be doing. All right, so now you are going to chain up 1 just like this, and on the next space you are going to be going in with a cluster, 2 and 3. All right, so just continue doing exactly what we've been doing until you get to this first stitch marker here. So once I get to this stitch marker, I'll come back to show you what we are going to be doing right here. All right, okay, so I've gotten to where the first stitch marker is. All right, so we are not going to be starting the joining from these parts. All you just need to do now, just remove the stitch marker from here now. All right, and then you are going to do what we've been doing. Okay, so chain up 1. Don't forget this is a corner, so you are going to put in a cluster, then you are going to chain up 2, 1 and 2, and on that same space you are going to be putting in a cluster, 1, 2 and 3. So after doing that, put your stitch marker back on the spot. All right, and then what you're going to do now, you're going to continue working these parts. All right, so what you're going to do, you are going to continue putting in the clusters from here. Again, you chain 1, everything normal, just work the clusters from here to these parts. Okay, so when you get to this second stitch marker, then I'll come back to show you how we are going to join it together. All right, So continue doing that now, and I will meet you at our second stitch marker. All right. Okay, so I've gotten to where the second stitch marker is now. All right, so instead of going all the way to this hand area again, we are going to be using this one now to close the shoulder area. So as you can see now, from here we now have our last 2 rows of green. So as you can see, my usage of the 2 colors, you only see 2 of this, 2 of this, 2 of this, 2 of this. So now we have 2 right here. So now we've completed the 2 on this part. So now what we are going to be doing, we are going to be starting these parts. All right, so now we still have 1 here. So now we are going to do the joining to make sure this part is also complete. Okay, so now just please watch what I'm doing. All right, so instead of going to this part, like I said, what you are just going to do now, you see this corner now where the stitch marker is, we are going to be going in there with just 1 cluster. So as you can see, is a corner, but we are not going to be doing our normal increase on that part. We're just going to be going in there with just 1 cluster. Okay, so now this other part, now let me remove the stitch marker, yarn over, and you see this other side now, this other corner. Please just watch what I'm doing. You are going to be going in there with a cluster, just like this, 2 and 3. Just 1 cluster. You know, we put 1 on this side, so you are going to be putting 1 on this side as well. All right, so to join, you are going to come into this next space now. Please just watch what I'm doing. Okay, you are going to go into this next space here and pull out the loop from here, just like this, and you are going to chain up 1. All right, and then you are going to yarn over and then come back to this other space on this other panel, and then you are going to go in there with a cluster, 1, 2 and 3. All right, and then you remove the hook from here again and go to the other panel here on the next space. I hope you're seeing what I'm doing. So you put your hook there and pull out the loop from here, just like this, and you're going to chain up 1 and then come to this other panel. The next space now, you are going to be going in there with a cluster, 1, 2 and 3. All right, so this is the joining method that we are going to be using. As you can see, is the lining together. All right, let me take it one more time before I go off camera. All right, so now you remove your hook from the loop here, you come to this other panel, you go in there with your hook and pull out the loop from here, and then you are going to chain up 1. Okay, then yarn over, then come back to this panel, and you are going to now do a cluster on that space, 2 and 3. All right, so this is how you join it together. And as you can see, we are putting the second row of this dark green now on this part, and at the same time we are closing the shoulders up. All right, so just continue doing that now all the way to this stitch marker here. Okay, this very first stitch marker we avoided the first time. All right, so when you get to this place, I'll come back to show you how we are going to join it here before we continue all the way down to this part. All right, okay, so I'm done with the joining. So this is how it's looking. So I've gotten to where the first stitch marker is. All right, so to join this part now, I'm just going to remove the stitch marker from here. All right, so as you can see now, this is a corner. All right, I've already gone into this loop, and now I'm going to be creating a cluster on our first corner here, 1, 2 and 3. All right, and then I'll remove my hook from here, and you see the second corner on the second panel. Please just watch what I'm doing. You are going to go into that corner, and then you are going to take the loop just like this, and then you are going to chain up 2. All right, so on this same corner space now, you are going to be going in there with another cluster, because now we are going to start working the body parts to complete the 2 rows of this green color. All right, so this is how it is looking now when it's all joined together. All right, as you can see, it's all blended together like nothing happened. And now we got our 2 rows here, and we got our 2 rows here, and at the same time we joined our shoulders right here. All right, so what you are going to do now, you are going to continue putting in 1 cluster on each of these spaces down all the way. Just continue to put in 1 cluster. When you get to this part here, the corner part, you are going to do exactly what you do to create the corner, and then you do it all the way, and you end here where we started from. Okay, so when you get to this part here, I'll come back to show you how it's looking and what we are going to be doing next. All right. Okay, so as you can see now, I'm at the end here now. I just want to show you how I end it here. So I've put in my last cluster here now, and I've chained up 1. So I'm just going to be doing a slip stitch on the chain 3 stitch that we started with here to end this row. Just like this, and chain up 1 and cut off the yarn. All right, and then tie it. So as you can see, we have the 2 last green rows on every part now. So, and as you can see, we've succeeded in joining our shoulders together. All right, so the next step now is going to be putting 1 row of green here as well. So it will be the same thing with these parts. Okay, so the arm area, you are just going to put in 1 row of green color. So it will be 2, 2, 2, because we don't want to miss out on anything. I want everything to be uniform. Okay, so I'm done with the 1 row, and as you can see, it all has 2, 2 on every part. All right, because I like it when it looks all uniform. All right, so now this one now is exactly 9 inches. So that makes our body now on this part 9 inches, and this part 9 inches. All right, and 9 plus 9 is giving us 18 inches. And like I told you, I'm going for 44. And if we are going to be working 2 panels, this part is going to be 22 inches. So the top is supposed to be 11, and this back part is supposed to be 11. So on this one, I'm expected to do 22 inches like this. All right, so now in order to get that 22 inches, because now we already have 9 like you've seen it, we are going to be working on the back panel and the front panel. Okay, so we are going to be adding 2 more inches at the back and 2 more inches in front. So as we keep working on the front and the back, like I told you, at the same time we are going to be working on the length as well, because we are just going to be going all around like this, and then we are going to be working all the way to this part and down to this place, and at the same time creating the neck area as well, because I intend to put like a neckline, a V neckline on this part. All right. Okay, so to begin working on the body, we are going to be starting on the neck area. Like I told you, I want to do like a little bit of V or a round neckline. Okay, so what you are going to do now, from this place that we joined, you are going to be counting 3 clusters, 1, 2, 3, and on the space just after the 3 clusters, that is where you are going to reattach your yarn. That's why I had to put a stitch marker here just to mark it out. Excuse me. So you reattach your yarn here, and then you are going to chain up 2. All right, 1 and 2, because we are going to be doing decreases to create the V neck I told you about. All right, so you're going to yarn over, and on the next space right here, you're going to be going in there with a cluster. 1, 2, and 3. So you're going to chain up 1, and on the next space, you're going to be going in there with a cluster. 1, 2, and 3. You are going to chain up 1. So this is exactly what you are going to continue doing. All right, so you are going to do this now all the way down to this part, and like I told you, we are going to be working on the bottom as well to create the length as we go. All right, so when you get to this point here, you are going to do the usual corner thing that we do here. 1 cluster, chain up 2, and do that, and continue working all the way down to this back here. Okay, and when I get here, I'll come back to show you how we are going to end it and start on the next row. All right, okay, so I'm at the end here now, and as you can see, this is where we joined. But since we are not doing any decrease at the back, we are going to be doing the last cluster now on this part right here. You see where we joined this space right here, the corner space. That is where we are going to be putting the very last cluster. So you are going to chain up 1 as usual, and on this space now, you are going to be going in there with a cluster. 2, and then 3. All right, so instead of going like this, we are not going to be going like this. We are going to be turning the work to the other side now, because we are going to be going back and forth like I told you. All right, so to begin the row 2 now, you are going to chain up 3, 1, 2, and 3. And on this space now, you are going to be going in there with a cluster. 1, 2, and 3. You're going to chain up 1, and on the next space, you're going to be going in there with a cluster. So it's exactly the same thing that we've been doing. All right, you keep putting in the clusters, chain 1, put in your clusters all around, and when you get to this front part where we do the decrease again, I'll come back to show you how we are going to be doing the decrease on this part. All right. Okay, so I'm at the place where we need to do the next decrease. All right, so as you can see, I've put in my very last cluster on the space here. So instead of going into the space, you're not going to be going into the space. You are going to count 1, 2 stitches, and you are going to go into the 3rd stitch, but you are not going to be making any chain on this part. All right, because you already know we always put in a chain 1 before putting the clusters, but this part we are not going to be doing the chain 1. So after the cluster, you're just going to yarn over and count 1, 2, and on the 3rd stitch you're just going to be going in there with just 1 double crochet on that stitch. So that is how we do the decrease for this row 2. All right, so to begin the row 3, you are going to chain up 2, 1, and 2, and then turn your work to the other side, just like this. All right, so now you see this space here, you are going to be skipping this space. So after the cluster now, the next space, that is where you are going to be going in with your first cluster. 2 and 3. All right, so this is how we do our decrease on this part. All right, so now you continue putting in your cluster, you chain up 1, and on the next space you're just going to go in there with a cluster. 2 and then 3. So chain up 1, just continue putting in your cluster like we've been doing. When you get to this part again, make sure you do your corner ritual. All right, so you put your 3 double crochet and chain up 2, and then you put another 3 double crochet to create a cluster. So just continue doing that, and then when you get to this back part here, I'll come back to show you how we end it here to begin the next row. All right. Okay, so I've gotten to the back part now, and this is how we end it here. All right, so after putting in your last cluster here, you're going to chain up one, and then you see this space here where we started from. You are going to be going in there with a cluster to end on this row. 2 and 3. All right, so as you can see, we begin with a cluster here, and on the second part there is a space here because we started with a chain 3, and now here we end with a cluster. So this is the pattern that you must follow. All right, so to start on the row 4 now, you are going to chain up 3, 1, 2 and 3, and then turn your work to the other side. And now on this space right here, you are going to be going in there with a cluster. 1, 2 and 3, and then you're going to chain up 1, and on the next space you're going to be going in there with a cluster. So this is what you continue doing. This is just how you continue building the body, all right, until you get to the length that you want. All right, so I'm going off camera now to complete mine, and I'll be right back to tell you what we are going to be doing next. All right, okay, so I'm done with the rounds. So as you can see, I ended up putting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more rows. All right, so this gave me the 11 inches that I'm going for this side. All right, so now we have exactly 11 inches. So if this side now is 11, the other side is 11. So on this part now we have 22 inches, exactly the size I'm going for. So the next step now is going to be making something identical like this, because I told you we are going to be working 2 panels. All right, so we are done with this first panel, so you are going to go ahead now to do exactly the same thing that you did here on another panel. All right, because we need 2 of them. So I'm going to go off camera now to create my second panel, and I'll be right back to show you what we're going to be doing next. All right, okay, so I'm done with the 2 panels. I had to bring it here so I can show you the full thing, how it's looking. So this is how the full thing is looking. So now that I'm done with the 2 panels, the next step now is going to be joining the 2 parts together. So I'm going to be bringing back this yarn because this is the color that I'm going to be using to join it at the back. So we are just going to be joining the back because we are not joining this front parts. Okay, so let's do the joining of the back first, and then we'll come to the front. All right. Okay, so for this joining, we are going to be using the exact method that we used to join the shoulder area right here. All right, so like I told you, I'm going to be joining with this green color right here. All right, so in order to join, you know already we have the same length of the clusters, the rows of clusters we have here. We have it on the second side as well. So in order to join, you are going to go ahead now to put 1 more extra row just at the back. Okay, so mine is going to be easier because I'm coming back with this color. So I'm going to be putting 1 row on this part, and then the joining we are going to be putting the other row on the other part as well. So I'm going to go off camera now to make my 1 row here, and I'll come back to show you what I mean and how we are going to do joining together. All right, okay, so I'm done with the 1 row on this panel. So as you can see now, we have 1 extra row here. So in order to join, just exactly what we did in the shoulder, if you remember, we are now going to be putting our last row at the back while joining. Okay, so let's begin on that one. All right, so as you can see now, I put in my last cluster here. So instead of walking down to the bottom, I'm now going to be using this part to join on this part. Okay, so you're just going to yarn over and then take this other corner from the other panel, and then you're going to do a cluster right here. 1, 2 and 3, and then you remove your hook from here and go to the next panel now, the space just right here. I hope you're seeing what I'm doing. The space just right here, that's where you're going to put your hook and take out the loop from here and bring it out and then chain up one. All right, and then you are going to come to this next panel now, and then you are going to create a cluster on the next space right here. And then you are removing your hook from here again, and then you are going to the next space on the other panel and pull out the loop and then chain up one and come back to this panel right here and do a cluster. So it's exactly the same way you did the joining on the shoulder, like I told you. That is exactly the same way you are going to be joining this back. So it's as easy as that. And as you can see, as we are joining, I'm actually creating the very last row on this other panel as well. All right, so we are going to be having two when it's joined together, just like this. All right, so I'm going to go off camera now to join mine, and I'll come back to show you when I'm done, and I'm going to tell you what we are going to be doing next. All right. Okay, so I'm done with the joining, and this is how it's looking. All right, so as you can see now, we have the equal amount on this panel and we have the equal amount of this panel, because there is one here and there is one here, which is the two rows. That is the design that I'm going for. All right, so now the next step for the cardigan is going to be adding more rows to the bottom to create the length that I'm going for. All right, so I don't know how long you want yours to be, but I'm going for either 22 or 23 as my own length. And right now I only have, I think, 19 in total. Yeah, exactly. I have just 19 in total. So I'm going to start on working on the length now on the bottom area, just the bottom area, and get my 22 to 23 inches that I'm going for. So let us get into that one. So you're going to put reattach your yarn right here now and chain up 3. 1, 2, and 3. So you know this is a corner. As usual, we are supposed to like go in here with one cluster, chain up 2 and another cluster, but that's not what we are going to be doing to begin this row. Okay, we're just going to be putting in just one cluster on this part. All right, so that's going to be the first cluster. So now to continue, you are just going to chain 1 like we've been doing. All right, chain up 1 and go into the next space now and create the next cluster. 1, 2, and 3. Chain up 1 and go into the next space and create the next cluster. So this is exactly what you are going to be doing, just exactly what we've been doing, but we are not doing any increases anymore. We are just working on the bottom. So you are going to go ahead now and do one cluster on each of the spaces until you get to this other part here. All right, and you are going to just put in one cluster on this part. Okay, we are not doing any corner part anymore. So on this corner now, you're just going to put in one cluster, and then you're going to chain up 3, turn your work to the other side, and just keep putting in clusters until you get the desired length. Okay, so me, I'm going off camera now to do my own 22 inches, and when I'm done, I'll come back to show you the finished result on the bottom area. All right, okay, so I'm done working the length, and I ended up putting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rows in total. So I'm good with this length. All right, so I'll advise that you put your own on your body to make sure that is where you want to stop. Okay, because after putting this on my body, I know this is where I want to end it. So I just added extra 7 rows and I'm good with this one. All right, so now the next step now is going to be working on the front down to the neck area. All right, so to start on that, as you can see, I didn't cut off my yarn. I'm just going to continue from here. All right, So now what we are going to be doing is double crochet all across, down to the neck, down to this part, and we are going to be ending here. Okay, so from here now, to start on that one, you are going to chain up 3, 1, 2, 3, and don't forget this 3 is going to be serving as 1 double crochet. Okay, so now on this space right here, you are going to be going in with just 1 double crochet. All right, so now on the next space, you are going to be going in that space with 2 double crochet. And on this space now, you are going to be going in here with 2 double crochet. All right, and on this space, you are going to go in here with 2 double crochets. So on the spaces, you're just going to be putting in 2 double crochets. All right, until you get to the normal parts where you just need to start putting in your normal regular 1 double crochet on each of the stitches. Okay, so I'm at the end of the row 1 now. This is how it's looking so far. So to begin the row 2 now, you are going to chain up 1. So this time around, we are going to be going all around now with a single crochet. So turn your work to the other side. All right, and then on this very first stitch here now, you are going to be going in with just 1 single crochet, and on the next stitch you are going to be going in with 1 single crochet. So just keep putting in 1 single crochet on each of the stitch all around, and I will meet you at the very end here to tell you what we're going to be doing next. All right, okay, so I'm done with my single crochet row. So to start on the third row now, you are going to chain up 3, 1, 2, and 3, and turn your work to the other side. So this is going to be the last row for the front area. All right, so now we are going to be doing the alpine stitch on this very last row. All right, so for this chain 3 you just made now is going to be serving as 1 double crochet. So on the next double crochet, you're going to be doing it just like this. Please just watch what I'm doing. You're going to be doing a front post with the stitch, the previous double crochet stitch you made, just like this. All right, so now you're going to be going into the next stitch right here and do a normal double crochet. All right, so you are going to be taking the previous double crochet you made and you do a front post double crochet with that double crochet stitch, and then you are going to be doing a normal double crochet on the previous single crochet stitch we just made. So if you are familiar with the alpine stitch, that is exactly what we are doing on this very last row. All right, but if you are not familiar with this stitch, then just watch what I'm doing. Okay, you yarn over. For this one now, you are going to be going into the regular previous single crochet you made and do a double crochet right there. And then next stitch, you are going to be going to the previous double crochet you made and do a front post just like this with that stitch. All right, and then do your regular double crochet on the next stitch and do a front post on the next stitch right here. So this is exactly what you are going to be doing for this row. So you go ahead to do that all around, and I'll meet you here to show you my own final result. All right, okay, so I'm done with the last row and this is how it's looking. All I just need to do now is chain up 1 and cut off the yarn, because we are done with our cardigan. We are done with our hexagon cardigan. All right, so let me show you the full thing. Okay, my table is not actually big enough to show you the full thing, but so far this is how it's looking. You can see how the alpine stitch turned out here. It's so beautiful. All right, So all I just need to do now is go ahead to weave in all of my ends. And to wrap things up, I had to come up with my aesthetic. You know by now me and my aesthetic. I couldn't just help it. I had to put 2 more rows of single crochet because I want this neon green color to come out here again. So I had to put just 1 row of single crochet of the neon color here. Then I had to come up with the dark green color again with just 1 single crochet. So after the alpine stitch we did here, I had to put 2 rows of single crochets, but this is optional. The reason why I had to do this is just because I want this aesthetic of this neon green coming out here again. All right, so I did it all the way to the bottom. So as you can see, the bottom has it as well. I had to put the neon green first, then the dark green came out second. All right, so this is how the entire thing is looking. It's so beautiful. All right, so with this we've come to the end of today's tutorial. I do hope you enjoy watching this video as much as I did creating the video. If you do, make sure to like the video and share it to your friends and your family who wants to make something as beautiful as this. All right, and if you've not subscribed to my channel before now, please do so now. You don't want to be missing out on all these beautiful tutorials that I post on here. All right, and click on that tiny notification bell below so that whenever I post a tutorial like this, you will be alerted. Okay, so if you have any questions about this project, feel free to drop it on the comment section and I will be happy to help. All right, so until next time, bye bye.